Hey there, everyone. I'm making this video to kind of vent. It's kind of also a story time thing. So, before I get a message from her, let's get into the story. Um, if you guys didn't know me in high school, you wouldn't really know that I'm kind of a playa, or I was. um, I was kind of what you would call desperate. Um, I would flirt with basically almost every girl that was in my friend group. And if you don't know, most of my friends are girls or female or whatever. I actually have a few trans friends as well who identify as female, so they count as well. Um, and I have a lot of friends who are people I flirted with. And a lot of the time it was more of a joking thing, but there were also times where it would get serious. And a few of the girls ended up, this is all the way through school, so from middle school through high school. I'm not ashamed to say that I was like this. Yes, I felt like an idiot, or I feel like an idiot about it back then, but like I was a teen. Like I was in that kind of stage. It was just who I was. I was a perv. I've always been a perv. I was one of those people who was desperate. Um, and one of the girls, I'm not gonna say her name, um, but in case I do say her name, I'll call her. What do I call her? I don't know. I'm just gonna refer to her as her because I'm not even gonna say her name. Um, One of the girls ended up basically flirting with me back, and it turned into an actual relationship after we graduated. And before it was a relationship, in high school, she had turned me down. We would flirt back and forth occasionally, on rare occasions, as a joke. Like, that's what I thought. Um, and then when we graduated, we messaged because, of course, I wanted to keep in contact with all my friends from high school. And suddenly she was like, "Well, I wish I hadn't turned you down." I'm like, "Okay." And I did have a crush on her. Like, this was a legit crush. But you also have to remember this was a high school crush, something that very rarely works out in the end, anyways. Most of my friends were dating someone in high school or were interested in someone in high school who now they actually hate. Like they don't like them. They are very upset at them. They're almost disgusted with them because of how things happen. Like that's just what happens in life. And if you're not graduated high school yet, yeah, you will lose a few friends when you graduate. It's just kind of how life works. But you can keep in contact with them through social media. Like for me, I moved away, so I wasn't able to talk to them in person, but I was able to keep in contact with most of them online. You might still be friends with them, but things do change. Sucks, but it's true. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing because sometimes that's just kind of like it's better because some of those friends end up moving on and having a better life, and then maybe you'll meet them again down the road. That's just how life is. And honestly, I miss some of my friends from high school. There are a few I lost contact with, but I still try and keep in contact on social media. Um, Anyways, so she was like, I wish I had you back. Or I wish like I had said yes and I wish we could date now. I'm like, well, I mean we can. I'm not seeing anyone. And so we got together. And I was like, well, we can. Like the nervous, like, oh my god, this is actually happening kind of thing. And so we got together. We dated for a while and then we chose to take it to the next level. I'm not gonna go into details on it. Um but yeah, stuff happened. We got a bit too intimate, and things ended up turning out for the worst. Because then, at that time, I was having trouble dating anyone. I could not be in a relationship with anyone without going absolutely insane. My brain was not able to just take it. I was overwhelmed too easily, and I wasn't able to be in relationships for long term stuff. And this person in particular was kind of pushy. If she sees that, I'm sorry, but you kind of were. Um, and it came to the point where I was kind of hesitant on even talking to her because she was extremely pushy and she didn't really care much about how I felt on some of the things. And it made me feel like it wasn't really a relationship, it was a one-sided thing. And relationships should never feel like that. If you're feeling like that, it's not a healthy relationship. I absolutely adore her. She's still a crush I have to today. but her actions have spoken otherwise. So I was like, well, I can't do this. I just get too overwhelmed. I can't be in a relationship with anyone right now. And it's true. I couldn't. I couldn't be with anyone at that point. I literally would leave my head like this, and I would slam my elbows down into the desk repeatedly. And that was what I would do in my room. And my neighbors got pretty sick of it because I lived in the house with other people. But I would do this out of frustration because when I got home from school, I would do that. When I got home from whatever work I was doing at the time, this is after I graduated school, I would have work or I'd have something that I'd go out for, and I'd immediately start doing that because it was just too much for me. And I actually scratched, I think it was this elbow, really badly, and then I cut this one because I ended up doing it so hard that it broke right through my desk and cut both my elbows. So I literally didn't get stitches, but I probably should have. So yeah. But what happened was we tried it again. We spoke. We got back together. Nothing happened this time, but we were dating. Quote unquote dating. And it got too much for me again. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle the overwhelming just sense of being in a relationship. It wasn't working. So I tried staying with it. I would try and voice my side when I was like, this is too much for me right now. Can we just take a break for a while? Can I kind of just stay home for a bit? And we did that. And suddenly, Jess, my girlfriend, comes around and tells me that we can date because she, believe it or not, her and I have known each other since I was younger. A lot younger. She's almost 2 years older than me, by the way. She's about 1.5 years older than me. So when I was 5, she was 7. And I've known her since I was 5. So she knows me better than I know myself. And I'm not even over-exaggerating about that. She literally can tell when I'm getting overloaded before I can. And that's why I was willing to date her. Because she was able to know boundaries, to step back when it needed it, and to not push me too hard. And that's one of the reasons why I love her. When it comes to the bed, though, that's a different story, because then she pushes way too hard. That's not the point. Anyways, the issue here is that, by the way, we're not sleeping together, just letting you know. We're just kind of like, nothing serious, okay? Nothing serious. The issue is, well, I mean, it's pretty damn serious, but it's nothing, never mind. The issue is that Jess asked me what I've done in the past, because we do want to know limits and boundaries of what can and cannot happen, which is any relationship should. And I told her about my past experiences. I told her what I've done, including with the girl who's my ex and who I had been with for a while. And just was like, okay. She honestly doesn't care. She just wanted to know my own boundaries. If your partner and you trust them very much and they trust you, you should be able to be honest with them. It's not like you should keep a secret. Like if they ask, well, have you ever done this before? You don't go, no, if you have done it. You don't keep secrets like that, especially not in a relationship with someone who you think is the one. I'm not sure if she's the one. I'm still too young to say, but we are a perfect match because I can't be with anyone else. It's too much for me. Sorry, fangirls. There's no you out there anyways. But Jess is able to kind of know my limits. And even if she doesn't know it, she'll ask. She'll make sure beforehand. And so literally about 20-ish minutes ago, from when I'm recording this, I had a conversation with the girl who was my ex. And she was like, did you tell Jess about us? And I go, yeah. I didn't tell her any of the details, but I told her the general idea of what we've done. I never said the specifics, but I did say that we were together and we did some stuff, and that was about it. I didn't say what the stuff was. I just said some stuff. And she goes, well, why would you tell her that? Like, why would you tell her the truth? Like, I'm like, what? That's what you do in a relationship where you trust the other person. You have to gain their trust by telling them the truth as well. Like, that's how trust works. You can't just make shit up. Sorry, that's shit. Well, yeah. So then it goes on, and she's like, well, I wish you were that honest with me. And I'm like, I was that honest. I was that honest. I've always been an open book. If you have a question, ask me. I'm not going to keep secrets. I never do. I always try and be completely honest, especially when I'm in a relationship. That's how they should be. And she didn't take that too well. She goes, well, then why can't you be with me? Like, why can't you be with me, for crying out loud? Like, tell me that. And I go, I've told you that multiple times, that I cannot be with anyone except for Jess, because no one else is able to know my own limits before I do. Because when I know them, it's too late. And let's just say that I was literally sleeping next to Jess on the sofa when this whole thing was happening, and I stood up and woke her up because I'm like, we need to talk, because I needed to vent to someone. By the way, it's midnight right now, so it was about 11:45 when this happened, when I woke her up. Yes, Jess is here right now. She's way in the other room, about to cry, actually, because I was pretty upset. And she's not crying about me. She's crying that she's crying because she thought she was too nosy, and that's why this whole thing happened, which isn't true. Okay. I wanted to let you guys know, though, this is something I'm going to be struggling with for a while, because this girl is a bit too much. Jess is she's perfectly fine in asking those things. That's how relationships should be. But the girl who I was with doesn't seem to understand that things didn't work out. That's just how life works. If you're going to get sore and jealous about it, I'm sorry. I've wished you the best of luck in finding someone who makes you happy. But that's all I can do. I can't be with you if it's not going to work out. That's simply it's not how relationships work. If I did, it'd be a one-sided thing, and I would end up having to take the short straw, and relationships should be evenly balanced. So I'm sorry if you ever see this, but I just can't. Jess, however, is perfect for me, and I'm staying with her. Sorry, but and Jess does feel bad about asking about that, but it's not her fault. It's perfectly normal, perfectly perfect, because that's how you're supposed to act. Bye, everyone. Ending the video here. Sorry if this got too real, but needed to get this out there. So have fun, everyone. Enjoy the drama. Stay in school, kids. Because then you don't have to grow up and deal with this shit.